It's pretty cool how you compare the animals and the slavery.
Animal is animal, but I don't think human is animal.
I can't tell you in advance, or it ruins the social experiment. What do you think about forced child labor?
I think it's pretty unethical, and it's something we don't really think about because it happens outside of our country. It's something we don't see and we don't think about, even though it's attached to everything else that we do.
And what about it makes it wrong and unethical, like you said?
Or the fact it's forced, in that we like to think that we have choice as humans, and forcing that upon children who have less choices than anyone, I think that's the most unethical part of it.
What do you think about slavery?
I don't think it's cool. It's like part of life that should be left alone.
What about it makes it wrong, let's say?
Oh no freedom for the other person.
I feel it's the same level of ethics of forced child labor, where it's someone has no choices subservient to someone with all the choices. Shouldn't be this way.
Yeah. If a slave owner was to justify owning a slave because they think that that slave is here for them, what do you think about that?
I wouldn't like that.
I think that's been tried. I think if you read a lot of doctrines from like the late 18 antebellum area, the southern states, there's a lot of thoughts about that, of like how it's these people don't have the capacity to think, and those people don't have the capacity to work and live on their own, so we need to take care of them like that. But I don't know, through education, through other aspects of life, like, it just shows that it's just not that way. So it's not that way.
I'm aware that these are obvious and weird, but I'm going somewhere, so thank you for bearing with me. Should we care about the slave owner's desire to have a slave more than we care about the slave being a slave?
No.
I think there's more sympathy outright for the enslaved, because that is an oppressed population. And, part of the reason this country allowed slavery for the first part is to compensate the slave owners and make them think, hey, they're the ones in power. And I guess most of the people in power do cater to those in power. So I think the slave owners do have needs, and that's why they have it. But I think as a just society, it should be towards the oppressed.
The reason why I asked you all of these questions is because the answers really explain well the principle of veganism. Veganism is the stance against animal use and exploitation.
Yeah.
And so that encompasses diet, but also any way, shape, or form that you might use an animal. We agree on all the answers that you gave to these questions, because they're pretty obvious. For some reason, they're not as obvious to people towards other animals. What would prevent you from living vegan and opposing animal use in that way?
Nothing prevents me. It's a choice. It's a conscious choice to make.
I'm Native American, so I like hunting. I kind of grew up with it.
Do you remember the question I asked you? Should we care more about the slave owner's desire to own a slave than
Like the food? What do you mean?
From the animal's perspective, they're a victim, right?
Yeah.
It's a similar scenario to the slave owner. The slave owner says they want to use that person against their consent, right? Against their will. Should we care more about them, or should we care more about the victim in that scenario, the animal?
I don't know.
I guess I enjoy meat, and I enjoy the choices of food that everything else is available.
And I understand. I wasn't always vegan. I loved a lot of animal foods, especially. Does the sensory pleasure justify enslaving someone and using their body without consent?
Someone, maybe not, but I think that there's a distinction to make between domestication of animals and domestication of humans, such as child or slavery. I mean, if life is life, animal is animal, but I don't think human is animal. I wouldn't eat a dog, but I wouldn't say a dog is my equal. I wouldn't say a cow is my equal.
I wouldn't value a stranger as much as I value my partner. Mm-hmm. Does that give me the right to use the stranger?
I suppose not, but as a stranger to a stranger, we recognize each other as equals, as humans who are able to.
I understand. I'm not necessarily asking you to value animals as much as humans. That really doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is to not, to just leave them alone, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What else would prevent you?
There's a bunch of people out in the world. I don't know. People need to eat, I guess. I don't have anything against veganism, but it's pretty cool how you compared the animals and the slavery, because if I were to say chicken farmers, people that feed their chickens and make them really, really, really clump, I kind of agree with you on that. I wouldn't start an argument about it, but sort of, because chickens, they keep and force feed them, so
What about a fully plant-based diet?
keep you fresh and healthier than ever.
You were kind of concerned about people need to eat, right?
Yeah.
What about placing animals and their secretions and all this stuff with fully plant-based foods?
Yeah. I'd like it one day, but I don't know.
I don't know. I suppose I just have a reason to do it. I haven't had a reason to do it.
Yeah, and also, like, the norm is to not be, so most people don't even think about it necessarily.
I'm Native American, so like hunting's like part of our culture, so
I'm French. The animal foods are very much part of our culture. And so I really understand that there's really great vegan options now. So you don't even have to part fully with those things. Have there been things in history that were cultural that we have stopped doing because of ethical reasons?
no, not that I'm aware of.
Would you say that slavery is, I mean, I think it's an example, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's lots of cultures out there. Probably part of it, probably a messed up part of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so for example, like sexism can be part of our culture. It has been like homophobia, right?
Yeah.
And there are amazing ways to celebrate tradition, like that does not harm others, right? And we can transform these traditions that exploit animals in a way that is a win-win, really. Yeah, hunting might be hiking or observing animals.
Yeah. I usually like going for hikes and all.
As we've agreed, it's wrong to, use humans as objects, and it's wrong to take that freedom away. Other animals are animals like us, right? And they're going through all these things on your behalf until the day you do go vegan.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like to support my activism and access exclusive content, please consider becoming a Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon member. Thanks for watching and see you next time.